a unified interpretation of viscoplasticity and topology, why and how VMT and TDA converge toward the same biological truth. Number 1428, VPT Sharp 001, November 9, 2025. Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category: VPT Methodology. Preface: this paper is the first one to be placed under a new research category that I call VPT, which stands for Viscoplastopology. The term comes from viscosity plus plasticity plus topology. VPT is a unified scientific framework that I created to describe the integration of the viscoplastic energy model and the topological geometry model. Instead of saying VMT plus TDA, I now use one single term that captures both the physical engineering features, viscosity and plasticity, and the mathematical geometric features, topology, of biomedical adaptation. Viscoplastopology combines viscosity for dynamic, time-dependent responses, plasticity for permanent deformation, or long-term adaptation, and topology for the geometric evolution of any dataset, including its size, shape, and connectivity. This unified approach allows me to study how metabolic systems transform, from instability to stability, and how the medical healing process evolves from unhealthy to healthy, by observing both internal energy dissipation and external geometric contraction. Introduction. Paper number 1427 on neuropathy and foot ulcer reversal revealed a clear turning point in my long-term dataset, the year 2017. Both the viscoplastic energy model, VMT, and topological data analysis, TDA, identified the same inflection point and the same stabilization trajectory extending through 2025. After finishing that paper, I reflected deeply on why two mathematical systems, derived from engineering and geometry, produced almost identical, qualitative interpretations of my medical evolution. That reflection led to this new article. During the past 16 years, I have completed more than 750 viscoplasticity papers, and around 30 topology papers, yet only recently did I recognize that these two methods are fundamentally connected by a single principle. Both are forms of data science applied to human health. This paper explains why physics, geometry, and biomedicine align so strongly, when the underlying data are organized correctly. Mathematics as the common language of biomedicine. Modern medicine often relies on descriptive statistics or categorical labels. Engineering and physics, on the other hand, rely on deterministic relationships, dynamic responses, structural forces, and cumulative energies. Over time, I learned that when biological data are treated as a dynamic system, similar to physical structures under load, the patterns become clearer and far more meaningful. When I organize one output strain, variable and several stressors into a chronological dataset, two things emerge immediately. 1. The viscoplastic energy distribution, showing cumulative damage or recovery. 2. The geometric shape, showing how stressors interact. As a multidimensional structure, these two perspectives appear different, yet they describe the same underlying biological behavior. This was my first major insight. A new perspective, data science as the unifying discipline. The connection between VMT and TDA becomes clear when viewed through the lens of data science. Both methods transform raw data into interpretable patterns, using different mathematical tools but pursuing the same goal: understanding system behavior over time. Data science has now become a formal academic discipline in universities. Current programs include undergraduate majors and minors in data science, professional and research master degrees in data science or machine learning, interdisciplinary PhD programs combining statistics, computer science, and domain sciences. Core academic subjects include statistics, probability, linear algebra, optimization, machine learning, data engineering, experimental design, and domain-based modeling. However, today's academic data science still lacks real-world examples and applied experiences. Similar to my long-term medical research work, most university programs remain too theoretical and classroom-oriented, which reflects the shortcoming of many professors who teach data science without working with real, longitudinal datasets collected daily over decades. My work demonstrates that, when mathematics is applied directly to real biological processes, the scientific insight becomes far deeper and more clinically meaningful. VMT and TDA as pattern recognition systems. Both VMT and TDA are pattern recognition frameworks. They differ in mathematical language, but not in purpose. VMT analyzes stress, strain, energy accumulation, dissipation, and turning points. TDA analyzes distance, direction, geometric contraction, and connectivity. Despite their differences, both methods depend on the same biomedical convention. Higher values indicate worse conditions. Lower values indicate improvement. This shared directional rule makes VMT and TDA mathematically comparable. Even though they measure different quantities, their qualitative interpretation becomes aligned. as long as input stressors follow consistent definitions. VMT curves and TDA trajectories naturally reflect the same trends. The role of data structure, why organization matters. For both VMT and TDA, the real power comes from how the dataset is structured. When the stressor values are normalized, ordered chronologically, and expressed consistently, both methods reveal the same three-stage evolution. Early years show high stress, instability, and wide geometric dispersion. Middle years show contraction and the emergence of a turning point. Later years show a compact, low-stress region, representing long-term stabilization. This pattern is not an artifact of mathematics. It reflects the biological reality of metabolic repair and lifestyle stabilization. In my neuropathy case, both the cumulative VMT energy curve and the TDA geometric contraction pointed to Y2017 as the structural turning point in the system. Mapping mathematics to physiology and pathology. Mathematics alone cannot explain disease. Pathology alone cannot explain math. But when the patterns generated by both VMT and TDA align with known mechanisms of organ, health and disease progression, a complete scientific picture emerges. When viscoplastic energy decreases, the mechanical stress on vascular, nerve, and metabolic systems declines. When TDA geometry contracts, behavioral and metabolic patterns stabilize. When both occur simultaneously, biology enters a measurable recovery phase. This matching process is the core of my research approach. I use mathematics to reveal patterns, then verify those patterns against physiology and pathology. When the two match, the research question is solved. Why VMT and TDA converge on the same turning points? Turning points occur when the internal system transitions from cumulative deterioration to progressive recovery. Both VMT and TDA detect these transitions but in different ways. In VMT, the turning point appears as the moment total energy stops rising and begins to decline. In TDA, the turning point appears as the point when the geometric path stops diverging and begins contracting. The two systems are observing the same phenomenon from different angles. Both respond to long-term improvements in glucose stability, body weight, carbohydrate reduction, daily walking steps, sleep, and blood pressure stabilization. This is why both methods identified Y2017 as the exact year when my internal neuropathy system reversed. The same will likely apply to stroke, CKD, CVD, and longevity research. A unified view, one dataset, two mathematical lenses. Viscoplastic physics and topology may appear unrelated, but they are simply two lenses that examine the same data structure. VMT describes energy, TDA describes shape. When the dataset is consistent, both describe the same biological truth. The consistency between both methods is not coincidence. It is a reflection of the internal behavior of real human systems, under long-term lifestyle influence. When the biological system becomes healthier, both the energy curve and the geometric shape contract in parallel. Conclusion. This paper explains why VMT and TDA consistently produce parallel outputs and identical turning points. Both frameworks rely on structured data, clear directional meaning, and long-term pattern recognition. When combined with physiology and pathology, they form a powerful, unified scientific approach for understanding chronic disease evolution and recovery. VMT reveals cumulative stress dynamics. TDA reveals geometric stability dynamics. Both reveal the same transitions, because both examine the same underlying structure of chronic disease. This unified interpretation strengthens the foundation of all my medical research. It provides confidence that the patterns observed in VMT and TDA are not artifacts, but reflections of deeper biological mechanisms. This will guide my future studies in stroke, CKD, cardiovascular disease, aging, and longevity. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is for educational reference only, and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights belong to the author, Gerald C.